The year 1980 fell under the presidency of Ferdinand y Marcos, whose regime 1965 to 1986 greatly influenced the country's coinage. By this time, the Philippines was facing economic pressures, rising foreign debt, inflation, and political unrest. Despite this, the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP, continued to issue coins for circulation to support the daily financial needs of Filipinos. Coins like the 10 Sentimo were essential for everyday transactions, especially in public markets, jeepney fares, and small goods purchases, during a time when the peso had more buying power than it does today. Even a 10 Sentimo coin played a useful role in daily commerce. The 198-10 Sentimo coin belongs to the Flora and Fauna series, which was first introduced in 1983, but in 1980 designs were still being finalized under the Engi Bagong Lipunan New Society monetary system. Featured the profile of Francisco Baltazar Baltazar, the national poet of the Philippines, who wrote the literary masterpiece Florante. At Laura, his image was chosen to highlight Filipino culture, identity, and contributions to literature. The inscription Republica ng Pilipinas encircles his portrait. The year 1982 is prominently placed, marking its minting year, showcased the Philippine coat of arms, symbolizing national pride and sovereignty. The denomination 10 Sentimo is clearly marked for circulation use. The coin was small in size, made of aluminum, lightweight, and silvery in appearance. Aluminum was chosen because it was inexpensive and durable, making it suitable for low denomination coins that changed hands frequently. During the early 1980s, the Philippine peso had more strength. A 10 Sentimo coin could still buy small items such as candy, a piece of bread, or could be added to jeepney fare. Though not large in value, it was a functional piece of money that kept the economy flowing in everyday trade. The 1982 issue of the 10 Sentimo represents the last years of the Engi Bagong Lipunan coinage system before the transition to the Flora and Fauna series in 1983. This makes it historically important, as it bridged two eras of coin design in the Philippines. For modern collectors, the 198-10 Sentimo holds value beyond its denomination. Common circulation coins may only be worth a few pesos due to their abundance. Uncirculated or mint condition coins can fetch higher prices, especially for collectors aiming to complete series sets. Its importance lies in representing Philippine history during a politically charged era. Though tiny, this coin honors Francisco Baltazar, ensuring that younger generations are reminded of his contributions to Filipino identity. At the same time, it reflects the government's efforts to circulate national heroes and symbols through currency, teaching history through the coins people used every day. 1982 Philippine 10 Sentimo coin belongs to a fascinating chapter in the country's numismatic history. Though it was a small value coin, it reflects major transitions happening in the Philippines during the late years of the Marcos administration. Coins are more than just money. They are miniature time capsules carrying the weight of a nation's history, identity, and struggles. 1982 The Philippines was already under martial law for a decade. President Ferdinand Marcos, who declared martial law in 1972, was still in power, and the nation was operating under his new society program Bagong Lipunan. Every aspect of governance, economy, and even coinage bore the influence of his policies. The 10 Sentimo coin of this period was minted under the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas BSP, which had the responsibility of issuing coins and maintaining monetary stability. The BSP sought to create coins that were practical for circulation but also educational, featuring heroes, symbols, and values of the Filipino people. The material of the coin was aluminum, a lightweight and inexpensive metal. Because 10 Sentimo was such a small denomination, aluminum was ideal. Copper and nickel were reserved for larger denominations, while precious metals like silver had long been removed from Philippine coinage due to rising costs. On the obverse side, the 10 Sentimo of 1982 proudly featured Francisco Baltazar. Baltazar is one of the most important figures in Philippine literature. His famous work Florante at Laura was written during the Spanish colonial period and continues to be a cornerstone of Filipino education. By placing Baltazar on the coin, the government highlighted the richness of Filipino culture and intellect. Around his portrait was the reverse side bore the Philippine coat of arms, which symbolized sovereignty, unity, and independence. The denomination 10 Sentimo was also displayed, ensuring the coin was easily recognizable in markets and daily transactions. Despite its small value, the 10 Sentimo played a crucial role in commerce. In 1982, the peso had more strength than it does today. A handful of Sentimo coins could still buy basic goods, like candy, bread, or vegetables in a public market. Jeepney drivers would also accept Sentimo coins as part of fare, making them indispensable in everyday life. The Philippines at this time was suffering from economic strain. Foreign debt was skyrocketing, inflation was rising, and poverty was spreading. Yet coins like the 10 Sentimo represented stability in small daily exchanges, even if the larger economy was under duress. Historically, the 198-10 Sentimo sits at the transition point between the Angi Bagong Lipunan series and the Flora and Fauna series. The Angi Bagong Lipunan coins carried Marcos political branding, while the Flora and Fauna series, introduced in 1983, highlighted national animals, plants, and heritage. This makes the 1982 issue particularly significant because it was among the last of its kind, before major changes, or belongs to the Angi Bagong Lipunan ABL coin series of the Philippines, which was issued under the regime of President Ferdinand A. Marcos. This coin is more than just money. It carries political, historical, and cultural symbolism that reflects the Philippines in the early 1980s. The coin features the bust of Andres Bonifacio, the father of the Philippine Revolution, and one of the most important heroes in Philippine history. Bonifacio is best remembered for founding the Katipunan, the secret revolutionary society that ignited the 1896 revolution against Spanish rule. His image on the coin is a tribute to nationalism and the struggle for independence. Alongside Bonifacio's portrait, the inscription Republica NG, Pilipinas, and the year of minting, 1984, are present. The reverse side displays the coat of arms of the Philippines used during the Marcos administration. Below it appears the text, Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas Central Bank of the Philippines, also scribed as the denomination. Dalawang Piso de Pesos. The Piso coin of 1984 was introduced at a time when the Philippines was undergoing major political and economic challenges. By the early 1980s, the country was facing a debt crisis, rising inflation, and economic instability. President Marcos declared the continuation of his new society, Bagong Lipunan program, which emphasized nationalism, discipline, and economic reforms. Coins from the ABL series reflected this agenda, often featuring heroes of the Philippine Revolution to inspire unity and patriotism. This coin is notably large and heavy compared to present-day coins, which is why it stands out in collections. The late 1980s, after the People Power Revolution of 1986 and the ouster of Ferdinand Marcos, the Philippine coinage system was redesigned under President Corazon Aquino. The large Piso coin of 1984 was eventually discontinued and replaced with smaller, lighter coins in the 1990s. However, the 1984 Piso remains significant because it was one of the last coins minted under Marcos before the fall of his regime. It honors Andres Bonifacio, a symbol of Filipino courage and resistance. Its size and design make it a nostalgic piece for collectors and Filipinos who lived during that period. The 1984 Piso coin is considered a collectible item, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Common circulated pieces are usually worth slightly more than. Its value is more historical than monetary. It represents a key chapter in the Philippines' political and economic history. 1980 for Philippine Piso coin is a large brass coin from the Angi Bagong Lipunan series, featuring Andres Bonifacio. It symbolizes patriotism and revolution, while its issuance under the Marcos government links it to a period of both nationalism and political unrest. Today, it serves as a historical and collectible piece reflecting the Philippine 1 Piso coin of 1974 is an important piece in the country's numismatic history, representing both the economic developments and political climate of the 1970s. Its story is connected not only to the coinage system but also to the broader historical narrative of the Philippines during the era of President Ferdinand Marcos. Let's dive into its long and detailed history. The coin features José Rizal, the Philippine national hero, whose works and martyrdom sparked the movement toward independence from Spanish rule. The reverse shows the coat of arms of the Republic of the Philippines, which includes the sun, 3 stars, and symbols representing the nation's sovereignty. The denomination 1 Piso is prominently displayed. The 1970 for 1 Piso coin was made of nickel brass, giving it a golden appearance. It was fairly large compared to today's 1 Piso coins, making it a bold and noticeable piece in circulation. Size and weight. It was heavier and wider than the modern Piso coins, aligning with the international trend of larger coinage in the mid-20th century. 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, which lasted until 1981. By 1974, the Philippines was under strict authoritarian rule. The coin, therefore, circulated during a time of intense political control, rapid infrastructure projects, and significant social changes. The Philippines in the 1970s faced economic challenges, including inflation and rising oil prices due to the 1973 oil crisis. Larger denomination coins like the 1 Piso became increasingly important as the value of money shifted. The coin was part of the Engi Bagong Lipunan New Society movement introduced by Marcos. Many coins from the mid-1970s carried the inscription Engi Bagong Lipunan in later issues, symbolizing his vision of a restructured society. However, the 1974 Piso still maintained the traditional design, featuring Rizal and the coat of arms serving as a bridge between older designs and the upcoming new society coinage. 1. Piso 1974 was among the first Piso coins of the 1970s following the introduction of the decimal system in the 1960s. It represented the transition into modern Philippine currency. Unlike the peso bills of the same era, the coin was more durable and circulated widely, often used in everyday transactions like jeepney fares, sari-sari store purchases, and small market trades. Because of its large size and distinct golden color, many Filipinos nicknamed it and remembered it as a heavy coin compared to modern standards. The 1974 1 Piso coin is considered collectible, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Circulated examples are common, as millions were minted for everyday use, but pristine versions, with minimal wear, fetch higher prices among numismatists. Special sets issued by the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, included proof and mint state coins, which are now rarer and more valuable. The 197 for 1 Piso coin belongs to a very important chapter in Philippine numismatics, struck during the rule of President Ferdinand Marcos. It represents a moment when the nation's currency was both a tool of commerce and a subtle reflection of political ideology. Unlike smaller denominations, the Piso carried greater symbolic and economic weight, making this coin one of the most used and remembered coins of its era. A obverse of the coin proudly bears the portrait of José Rizal, the country's most celebrated national hero. Rizal's inclusion was not just an artistic choice, but a deliberate nationalistic message. His writings and martyrdom were tied to the Philippines' struggle for independence, and by placing him on the currency, the government reinforced a patriotic identity, even during times of authoritarian rule. The reverse, the Philippine coat of arms, symbolized sovereignty. It features the sun and stars representing Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, along with the eagle and lion symbolizing the United States and Spain, nations that once colonized the Philippines. By 1974, these symbols highlighted both the colonial past and the assertion of independence. The coin entered circulation 2 years after Marcos declared martial law in 1972. This was a period of tight state control, censorship, and centralized power. Even the currency was carefully designed to reflect stability and national progress, aligning with the political propaganda of the time. 1970s saw Marcos introducing his vision of a Bagong Lipunan new society. While the 1974 Piso itself did not yet carry the Bagong Lipunan marking, it was part of the transition that would soon introduce coins bearing that label. This makes the 1974 Piso a bridge coin linking the pre-Bagong Lipunan series to the propaganda-heavy designs of the later 1970s. Unlike silver or older olo coins, the 1974 Piso was minted in nickel brass, giving it a durable golden color. This was not just a practical choice, it also aligned with global trends where countries shifted from expensive metals to more cost-efficient, longer-lasting alloys for mass circulation coins. The 1974 Piso was physically larger and heavier than modern Piso coins. Many Filipinos remembered it as a bulky coin. Its solid feel gave it a sense of value and strength. Unlike the much lighter and smaller coins of today, the 1970s brought economic struggles. Inflation rose sharply due to the 1973 oil crisis, and the Philippine peso experienced devaluation. Having a sturdy 1 Piso coin was important, as its value was still significant enough for daily use. From buying rice to paying jeepney fares, the 1 Piso of 1974 was a familiar sight in daily life. It was used in markets, public transportation, and small transactions. At the time, one piso had much higher purchasing power than today. It could buy several basic food items or even a full meal in a small eatery. Series of the Philippine peso coins introduced in the mid-1960s under the administration of President Ferdinand E. Marcos. This coin reflects not only monetary policy but also the cultural and national identity of the Philippines during a period of modernization and nation-building. Transition from the English series to the Filipino series. Before 1969, Philippine coins carried English inscriptions such as Central Bank of the Philippines. However, in the late 1960s, the government initiated a move toward greater use of the national language, Filipino, now Filipino, as part of a broader cultural and political identity movement. The 10 Sentimo coin of 1970, therefore, bore the inscription Republica ng Pilipinas, replacing English wording. This change marked an important step in asserting national pride and independence, decades after the country gained freedom from American rule. The obverse of the 1970 10 Sentimo features Francisco Baltazar. Baltazar, the celebrated Filipino poet and author of Florondia Laura. His inclusion symbolized the rich cultural and literary tradition of the Philippines. The coin bore the inscription Francisco Baltazar along with the denomination 10 Sentimo. The reverse showed the coat of arms of the Philippines with Republica ng Pilipinas and the year 1970. The coat of arms featured the 3 stars and the sun, symbolizing Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, along with the American bald eagle and the lion of Spain, reminders of the country's colonial past. The 1970s were a turbulent time for the Philippine economy. The peso had been pegged to the US dollar for decades, but in 1970, the Philippines experienced a major peso devaluation. Inflation and political instability affected the economy, making small denomination coins like the 10 Sentimo crucial for everyday use among ordinary Filipinos. The 10 Sentimo coin circulated widely in markets, sari-sari stores, jeepney fares, and local trade, serving as an accessible unit of value in a time when every centavo mattered. The choice of Francisco Baltazar was deliberate. By placing him on the coin, the government reinforced the importance of the Filipino language and literature. His writings inspired patriotism, moral lessons, and love for the country. The coin thus became both a medium of exchange and a miniature cultural emblem, carried in people's pockets. The 1970 10 Sentimo coin remained in circulation for many years, even after later coinage reforms. It was part of daily life throughout the 1970s and into the 1980s. Over time, however, inflation reduced its purchasing power, and by the late 20th century, it became practically obsolete. Collectors, the 197010 Sentimo coin has modest but meaningful value, circulated condition, often worth only a few pesos due to its high mintage and availability. Uncirculated, mint condition, can fetch higher prices, sometimes up to a few dollars for pristine examples, especially if graded. Historical value. The 1 piso coin of 2015 belongs to the new generation Currency NGC coin series, which was officially released by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas (BSP) on December 2017, though some coins bear earlier mint dates such as 2015. These coins were introduced as part of a modernization program that aimed to improve security, prevent counterfeiting, and give the Philippine currency a refreshed unified design. Prior to this series, the Philippines had been using the new design BSP coin series since 1995. By 2015, those coins were already 2 decades old, worn down, in circulation, and beginning to be counterfeited more frequently. The BSP recognized the need for a new design that would not only improve durability but also carry national symbolism more prominently. The coin features the portrait of José Rizal, the Philippine national hero whose writings inspired the revolution against Spanish colonial rule. Rizal's portrait is accompanied by the inscription Republica ng Pilipinas and the mint year, in this case 2015. The portrait design reflects the importance of national heroes as a unifying symbol of identity. The reverse highlights the wailing orchid Vanda Sanderiana, a flower native to the Philippines and sometimes called the Queen of Philippine Flowers. This design element aligns with the BSP's choice to include native flora in the NGC coin series, symbolizing the country's natural heritage. Alongside the orchid is the official BSP logo, representing authority, security, and the Philippine financial system 2015. Many of these coins were released into circulation in 2017 and 2018, when the entire NGC coin series was rolled out. This has sometimes caused confusion among collectors, since coins exist with early dates, before their official public release. During this period, both the old BSP coin series, 1995 to 2017, and the new NGC coin series circulated together, leading to a short era where multiple designs of the one Piso coin could be found in pockets and wallets. In 2018, the BSP began gradually withdrawing the old coins. One Piso coin holds special significance in daily life. It is the most commonly used denomination in the Philippines, frequently used in jeepney fares, sari-sari store purchases, vending machines, and parking meters. For many Filipinos, the Piso coin is not just money, it is a familiar companion in everyday economic activity. The inclusion of José Rizal on the coin reinforces national pride and remembrance of sacrifice for independence. Meanwhile, the wailing orchid represents the Philippines' rich biodiversity and commitment to preserving its natural treasures. Most 2015 one Piso coins remain common in circulation, and in circulated condition they are worth their face value. However, collectors often seek brilliant uncirculated or proof versions. Coins in pristine condition hold higher value. Error coins such as off-center strikes, missing details, or misprints. The term peso comes from the Spanish colonial period, when Spain ruled the Philippines from the 16th century until 1898. The local currency system was heavily influenced by the Spanish real de ocho, pieces of 8, also called the peso. Over time, the peso became the standard unit of currency, not only in the Philippines but also across Spanish colonies in the Americas and Asia. When the Philippines transitioned from Spanish to American control in 1898, the peso, locally called Piso, was retained, but new designs were minted under the United States Philippine Commission beginning in 1903. These featured symbolic designs like a Filipino woman beside an anvil with MT Mayon in the background, and an eagle perched on a shield. After independence in 1946, the Philippines gradually redesigned its coins to reflect Filipino heroes' culture and identity. The one Piso coin, therefore, carries with it not just monetary value but a legacy stretching back over 400 years of colonial and independent history. The image of Dr. José Rizal on the one Piso coin first appeared in the BSP coin series of 1975, which was introduced to modernize the currency and commemorate national heroes. Rizal, as a reformist, writer, and martyr executed in 1896 by Spanish authorities, became the foremost symbol of Philippine nationalism. When the new design, BSP coin series, was launched in 1995, Rizal remained on the one Piso coin, but the design was updated with sharper features, a brass-colored appearance, and the logo of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. This was the coin Filipinos used daily for over 20 years, until the launch of the 2015-2017 new generation currency coin series, where Rizal was retained once again, showing his lasting place in the nation's identity. The choice of the wailing orchid for the reverse side of the coin carries deep cultural and natural significance. Discovered in Mindanao in the late 19th century, the wailing, placing this orchid on the coin, the BSP, emphasized not only economic strength but also the ecological wealth of the Philippines. It represents biodiversity and the country's role as one of the world's top megadiverse nations. This was also part of BSP's broader design philosophy in the NGC series. Each coin highlights flora and fauna unique to the Philippines. 2015 dated Piso is historically important because it was among the first coins produced for the NGC series, though most were released only in 2017. In fact, 2015 and 2016 dated coins are considered transitional issues, as they marked the shift from the older BSP coin series to the new, modern designs. For many collectors, this makes the 2015 Piso a symbolic coin. It closes the chapter on the 1995 to 2017 brass series. It opens the chapter of the NGC coins featuring nickel-plated steel, making them more durable and distinct. The one Piso coin has long been the backbone of small-scale transactions in the Philippines. Presidency of Ferdinand A. Marcos, the Anggi Bagong Lipunan program, launched in 1975, was a political and economic movement intended to promote discipline, reform, and unity during the martial law period. Coins bearing the ABL mark were introduced to symbolize this new society vision. José Rizal, the Philippine national hero, is prominently featured. The portrait was based on earlier coinage designs of Rizal, modernized to fit the new coin series. Central design: the national coat of arms of the Philippines. Inscription: Ng Bagong Lipunan at the top, Piso at the bottom, and the denomination 1 in bold. The reverse design also included small design adjustments to match the uniform style of the ABL coin series. Minting authority: Central Bank of the Philippines, Banco Central ng Pilipinas. Mint location: Manila, and some possibly struck overseas under BSP contracts 19761. Piso coin was not only a circulating medium of exchange but also a political symbol. The Ng Bagong Lipunan coins replaced earlier designs that did not carry the reform movement's branding. It was one of the largest coins in circulation at the time, giving it a noticeable presence in everyday transactions. This coin was introduced in a period of controlled economy and centralized governance, where the state played a major role in regulating inflation, imports, and infrastructure growth. The larger denomination also reflected the gradual inflation occurring in the mid-1970s. 1976 issue was minted in large quantities for everyday circulation, so it was common in commerce for many years. However, due to wear, loss, and melting for metal content, uncirculated and high-grade examples are much less common today. Common circulated condition typically worth its face value or slightly more to collectors. Uncirculated brilliant uncirculated condition can fetch several hundred pesos from collectors, especially if still in mint luster. Some 1976 coins exist in proof condition for collectors and can be significantly more valuable. The 1976 1 Piso coin stands as a reminder of the Marcos martial law era and the government's efforts to instill its political branding into daily life. Over the decades, as coin designs evolved, this coin became a nostalgic relic for Filipinos who lived through the 1970s.